Hello, welcome to another episode of Big Man in the Woods. Now today we're talking about some ideas on how you can get some volunteers at your scout group. Now, I don't know if you're struggling with volunteers or whatever, but I've got some ideas that might help you get some help. And we're not just talking about section leaders. It's all here at Big Man in the Woods. These aren't guaranteed tricks and ideas it'll get people flooding in your door. It's just ideas that scout leaders from around the UK have put together, stuff in fact that I've used in my scout group that's kind of worked this summer with one of the ideas I did, but we'll talk about that in just a few seconds. But I think the first one is to make sure that your leaders are out and about in your hall, and when parents come and see you, and make sure that your leaders are actually having fun. They're not standing in the corner just looking grumpy, because if it looks like they're not going to have a fun time, then parents aren't going to help, are they? They want to see that having time with their young ones in the scout group, they're going to have fun as well. So it's about giving something. So make sure that your leaders are positive. So something I hear about all the time is that volunteers come up to the scout leader or the group scout leader and show genuine interest. They want to volunteer, but they're not chased up. The scout leader doesn't pass on to the GSL, or the district leader doesn't pass it on to the scout group. So people are wanting to volunteer, but they don't get chased up. So the other thing is, make sure you do chase those people up. Send an email. If you haven't heard from them again, send another email, or try and track them down at the hall. Go and find them and grab them, and then say, what's this all about? Do you want to volunteer? So chase the person up when they show interest. Something else that's been worked and tried and tested is having family days. So coming to a scout site like this at Packer, or maybe even in your scout group, and having a family open day. So the parents, not just parents, but we're talking about kind of family relatives as well, maybe people in your neighborhood, they come and see what Scouts is all about. Because the general public honestly don't know what scouting is all about. We as leaders presume that the public know what we get up to. The public still think it's all about knots and camping. We know as leaders, it's not. So having an open day, mini base sessions, having some fire lighting, backwoods cooking, arts and craft, tent pitching racing, stuff like that shows to future volunteers what we do here in Scouts. Little taster sessions that the volunteers can get involved with, and even kind of race between the beavers and the cubs and Scouts and stuff like that. So having a family open day is another great tip on getting volunteers. So this is my own personal tip, and I used it just a few months ago as holding an AGM. Now in the past 10 years when I've held AGMs, we've had 2, if not 3, maybe 4 maximum parents come and attend the AGMs. Last year we tried it doing it in our cub night, so we had a trapped audience there. So we did have a few cubs, the parents were there, and an odd scout leader, beaver leader, parents were there. So it didn't quite work. So this year I turned it into having a family activity day. So we held it at a scout hall, so we didn't have to transport anyone to the local campsite. They knew exactly where it was. I run firelighting sessions. The cub leader run tent racing, and the beavers had arts and crafts sessions. So that was going on. And while they were there, I pounced. I told a little white lie. We got the AGM in. Okay, so it was only 15-20 minute AGM, but packed into a whole afternoon. Okay, so the parents saw what the Scouts get up to. The beavers were there. Cub leader was doing the tent pitching and racing. The parents really enjoyed it. We got an AGM out of it, which is a bonus. So we had, I don't know, 20-30 parents that were there. We also got 4 volunteers signed up, and you know what? They're signed up now because I chased them up. Okay, they showed interest, and like I said in point 2, chase them up. Another tip that we try in my scout group, it does work, it doesn't work, is when the young person signs up, you tell the parent that there's a parent rota list that they have to come and volunteer. It's only going to be maybe once every 2-3 months. If someone maybe drops out because of work or sick or something, they can jump in. But getting a parent rota right from the beginning, so the parents know that when they sign up to your group, they also sign up to volunteer for one session every couple of months. So getting the parents to know that there is a chance that they're going to have to give up one evening to spend the little Johnny at Beavers. So I'm really guilty of this next bit. It's not until it gets pointed out then you're like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. And I've done it for a few years. So you ask a parent to come down, they're on the parent rota, but you don't actually give them a task. They just turn up. They're standing in the corner looking all silly because they don't know how to run games. They don't know how to run a badge session. So making sure that that parent has a particular role. So maybe they're good at making tea. Get them to make tea for the leaders and squash for the young people. Maybe they know a little 10-minute game, or even their profession. They're a photographer, they're a mechanic, they're a cook. Get them down and ask them to show their skill. But make sure that the volunteer that's coming to your scout group has a role. If they don't have anything, they're not going to come back, are they? But the trick is, make that person get involved and then know how fun Scouts is, and I bet you they'll sign up. So the general public thinks Scouts all wear uniforms. Leaders wear uniforms, we wear woggles, it's all about a uniform. But we know, as a Scout leader, there's a millions of different roles that aren't involved in uniform. Again, the general public don't know about these behind the scenes roles. There's the treasurer, the chairman, a quartermaster, someone who orders food for camping, someone who has their own van and they can drive the equipment to the Scout site when we go camping. All these little roles play a really important part. Maybe there's someone's really good at IT, so you get them to set up the parent email system and maintain OSM, your website, something like that. So it's not about always being in a uniform. So when someone says they want to be a volunteer at your Scout group, don't automatically assume they want to be a leader. I'm sure we're all guilty of using this scattergun approach, meaning we know we need help, so we just throw out all the random emails, the SMS, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, asking for volunteers. Well, in fact, we only need one role. That one role, for example, could be the treasurer. So we're asking for people to volunteer. People think, as I keep saying, it's all about being a Scout leader. It's not. So don't use this scattergun approach. Make sure you actually pinpoint the person that you're after. So if you're after a treasurer, look for someone who's good with numbers, an accountant or something like that. If you're after a quartermaster, ask for someone who's got camping experience. Maybe in my group, what we're trying to find is a handyman. So we're trying to contact all the dads and the mums to know maybe the next door neighbor is a retired builder. So don't use the scattergun approach. Pinpoint the volunteer that you're after. So this next one's called the homegrown approach, and it has worked for me. Hey, this one, it will work, okay? But you've got to do a lot of chasing up, all about networking. So Gilwell have looked where the majority of volunteers come from, okay? And most of them are homegrown. What do they mean by that? It means that someone's been through the movement. So maybe they've been a Beaver, Cub, Scout, young leader, they've gone on to Explorers, they've gone off to university, then they've come back home and realize actually they really like Scouts. They miss that commitment, they miss the friendship, they miss the skills for life that they've been learning. So the majority of Scout leaders that we find are homegrown, okay? So I've used this approach. He's now my assistant Scout leader. He went for the whole of our section. He went off university. While he's at university, he still stayed in charge. He moved back. I sent him another email saying, we need some help as Scouts. And to be honest, I didn't think he would stick around. I thought he would be here for just a few weeks, and he enjoyed it, and he saw how much fun it is to be a leader. And now he's doing his would-be training, and it's going to be great. So staying in touch with the people that have been through your movement, have been through the group, there's a high chance that they'll volunteer at your Scout group. So stay in touch with all the young people that go off to university. Or maybe they're apprenticeship. Maybe they don't go to school, to university, and they're just having another job or something, and they forgot how fun Scouts could be. Drop in an email. You never know. They could be your next volunteer. The next point in recruiting volunteers at your Scout group would be to ask. Lots and lots of people don't know that they actually can volunteer for Scouts. They think they have to be trained in a particular way, or they have to love camping. They have to have outdoor experience. They have to be able to cook on fire. They have to be able to light fires. They don't. It's all part of the training, isn't it? So if you don't ask, how do the parents know that you need volunteers? Maybe there's someone at work that talks about taking their kids camping every bank holiday. Your neighbor over the garden fence talks about how much fun he had when he was in Scouts. The lady down the road, she used to go girl guiding. So chase these people up and ask. Just ask. If you don't tell, they'll never know, will they? So make sure you ask your parents when they drop their little Johnny off at Beavers Cub Scouts that you need some help. And remember, pinpoint the person. Don't scattergun it, okay? But don't forget to ask. Guys, I hope that's given you some ideas on how you can get some volunteers at your scout group. These are tried and tested. People around the UK have tried these techniques and have actually generally worked. Like I said, I've used a few of these techniques myself and it has paid off. Try it. Maybe you know some more ideas on getting volunteers at your scout group. If you do, comment below and I'd love to know how you get some your volunteers at your scout group. Until next time, guys, awesome. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and if you look at this playlist, ba-ding, just up here, there's some more ideas all about scouting. Until next time, guys, happy camping.